Welcome back, everyone. Today we are diving into a topic that I know a lot of you are super curious about, the power of play in your child's development.
It's such an important one.
It really is. And we are so lucky to be joined today by
I know, right?
Clear's Throat.
Yeah.
We're so lucky to be joined today by Sari, a fantastic research summary from the Minnesota Children's Museum called The Power of Play.
Yeah, and they should know, right? I mean, they're reaching over 400,000 visitors a year at the museum itself, and then even more through all of their traveling exhibits. So they've really dedicated themselves to this idea of sparking learning through play.
Absolutely. And, this isn't just about letting kids have fun.
Right. Yeah.
This research makes it clear that play itself, IS learning,
hmm
it is absolutely crucial for their development socially, emotionally, physically, and cognitively.
It really is. In fact, there's this quote from Lev Vygotsky,
Okay.
who's like, a giant in the field of child development. And I
Right.
think this really sums it up perfectly.
Right.
He said, in play, it is as though the child were a head taller than himself, as in the focus of a magnifying glass. Play contains all developmental tendencies in a condensed form and is itself a major source of development.
A head taller than himself.
Yeah.
I love that imagery.
Yeah.
It really speaks to how play can unlock so much potential in a child.
Exactly. And it makes you think, especially with all the emphasis these days on STEM education,
Yeah.
we're pushing for those science, technology, engineering, and math skills early on, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Play, even without a specific academic goal in mind, naturally fosters those very skills.
Okay, now you've got me intrigued. Tell me more about this connection between play and STEM.
Well, think about it. When children build with blocks, or they solve puzzles, or they even just engage in pretend play,
Yeah.
they're constantly exercising critical thinking, problem solving, and creativity.
Yeah.
These are the building blocks for success in any STEM field.
It's like they're preparing for these future careers without even realizing it, just by following their natural instincts to play.
Precisely. But here's the thing, and this is where it gets a little concerning. Kids today have far less playtime than previous generations.
Yeah.
Between increased academic pressure, you've got the allure of screens, and even just structured activities. That unstructured playtime is really getting squeezed out.
It makes you wonder about the potential consequences, doesn't it? If play is so fundamental, what happens when it's missing? So we've established that play is essential, but it's not just one thing, right?
No, not at all.
This research summary breaks it down into different types, each with its own unique benefits.
Yeah.
We're talking social play, object play, pretend play, physical play, and even media play.
You got it. And each one is like a different tool in a child's developmental toolbox.
I like that.
So let's start with social play.
Okay.
We all know kids need to interact with others, but it goes way beyond just making friends.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
I remember those epic playground negotiations like it was yesterday.
Totally.
You could be the superhero this time, but only if I get to be the sidekick with the cool gadgets.
Exact. Every play day, every game of tag, it's an exercise in navigating those social dynamics, They're learning to cooperate, negotiate, compromise, resolve conflicts, skills they'll use throughout their lives from the playground to the boardroom.
It's fascinating how those seemingly simple interactions,
Yes, right.
build such crucial social and emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
What about object play?
Okay.
I'll admit, sometimes those scattered blocks and toys just feel like a minefield in my living room.
I hear you, but those blocks are more than meets the eye. Research shows that building, stacking, and manipulating objects helps develop spatial reasoning skills,
Okay.
which are directly linked to success in math and STEM fields later on.
Wow, so those towers they love to build are secretly math lessons in disguise.
Precisely, and it makes perfect sense when you think about it.
Yeah.
They're figuring out how shapes fit together, experimenting with balance and gravity, developing problem-solving skills without even realizing they're learning.
That's amazing.
Right. And speaking of amazing things disguised as play, let's talk about pretend play.
Okay.
The research summary actually calls this the high season of play during the preschool years, and for good reason.
Yes, I've definitely seen that imaginative world just explode in my own kids around that age.
Yeah.
Why is pretend play so crucial during this time?
This is where we see the development of theory of mind.
Okay.
That incredible ability to understand that other people have thoughts and feelings and perspectives that might be different from their own.
So when they're pretending to be a doctor or a chef or even a superhero, they're not just using their imagination, they're actually stepping into someone else's shoes.
Exactly. And that's huge for developing empathy, navigating social situations, building healthy relationships throughout their lives.
It really is incredible to see when they start to get that.
Yeah.
Now let's move on to something a little more high energy.
Okay.
Physical play.
Yeah.
It seems like kids have this endless supply of energy,
Right.
always running, jumping, climbing on everything in sight.
You're telling me?
But you're saying all that running around isn't just burning off energy.
It's not just that.
It's actually building their brains.
That's right. Physical play has been linked to improved attention, self-regulation, even cognitive flexibility.
Okay, now I need to hear more about this. How does physical activity actually impact brain development?
Well, when children engage in physical activity, it increases blood flow to the brain, which stimulates the growth of new brain cells and strengthens the connections between them.
Wow.
This, in turn, supports cognitive function, learning, memory.
So important.
It is. And unfortunately, with recess disappearing from many schools and the rise of sedentary activities, it's more important than ever to encourage physical play outside of the classroom.
It's like we need to make a conscious effort to counterbalance those like sedentary hours with good old-fashioned running around.
I think so.
Speaking of things we need to be conscious of,
Yeah.
let's talk about media play.
Okay.
I know this one can be a bit of a minefield for parents, especially with concerns about screen time.
Absolutely. And it's important to approach this one thoughtfully.
Yeah.
We're not advocating for unlimited screen time here.
Right.
But the reality is that media is a part of our children's world. The key is to be selective and use it as a tool for learning and engagement rather than just passive entertainment.
So it's about finding that sweet spot between embracing technology, but also making sure it doesn't overshadow those other crucial forms of play.
Exactly. Think of it as adding another tool to their toolbox.
Okay.
And just like with any tool, it's all about how you use it.
So we've explored this incredible world of play and all the different ways it shapes young minds. But now the big question is, how can we as parents best support our kids in this, this playful learning journey? What can we actually do to encourage them?
Well, that's where guided play comes in. It's a concept this research really emphasizes.
Guided play. Okay, so it's about being involved, but not taking over. Right.
Exactly. It's about striking that balance between giving children the freedom to explore their own ideas, but then also providing some gentle guidance to help them kind of get the most out of those play experiences.
So like being a supportive coach, not a drill sergeant?
Right. No play-by-play instructions allowed.
I like that analogy.
And the research actually breaks down guided play into 4 distinct roles that adults can take: onlooker, stage manager, co-player, and play leader.
Okay, I'm really interested to hear more about these roles. Can you give us some like real-life examples of what each one looks like in action?
Absolutely. Let's start with the onlooker. So imagine your child is like deeply engrossed in building a magnificent castle out of blocks as the onlooker. You're simply observing their creativity, maybe making a comment here or there like, wow, that's an impressive tower, but mostly giving them the space to lead and explore their own ideas.
So you're present and interested, but not stepping in to like direct the action.
Precisely hands off, but still engaged.
Okay, I like that.
Now let's say your child wants to play restaurant. This is where you might step into the role of stage manager. So you're there to help them gather props, set the scene. Maybe you provide some construction paper for menus or some old magazines for decor, or even help them set up a makeshift counter.
Okay.
But the key is they're still the director of the play, deciding on the menu, taking orders, creating the overall experience.
That makes sense. You're providing the tools and resources, but they're the ones kind of driving the play itself.
Exactly.
And what about the co-player role? That sounds like where things get a bit more interactive.
Exactly. This is where you jump in and become part of their imaginative world. So let's say they're having a tea party with their stuffed animals as the co-player. You might take on the role of a guest, engaging in conversation with their furry friends and following their lead on the, rules of tea party etiquette.
So you're fully immersing yourself in their world, becoming a character in their play narrative.
Yes.
It sounds like a really great way to connect with them on their level
Yes.
and show genuine interest in their creations.
It is. And it also gives you a chance to model some important social skills like sharing, taking turns using your imagination.
That's a really good point.
And then finally, we have the play leader, a more active role that's usually reserved for times when kids need a little nudge to kind of spark their creativity or prevent the play from fizzling out.
So if you notice their interest kind of waning, the play leader steps in with a little inspiration.
Exactly. Maybe you introduce a new element to their existing play scenario or offer a gentle challenge like, I wonder if you could build a bridge that's tall enough for this toy car to go under, or even just model a new way to play with a familiar toy. The key is to offer suggestions and possibilities without dictating the outcome.
It sounds like finding that right balance between those roles is key, being sensitive to their cues and knowing when to step back and when to offer a little guidance.
You're absolutely right. It's all about being responsive and present in the moment, paying attention to their energy levels, and being willing to shift roles as needed. And, there was this study mentioned in the research summary that really stuck with me. It involved observing parents at a children's museum, and what they found was that many parents were so focused on teaching or directing the play that they missed those valuable opportunities for true, spontaneous interaction and connection.
It's a good reminder that sometimes the best thing we can do is simply be present, let go of the reins a bit, and allow that natural love of learning to guide the way.
I couldn't agree more. And on that note, I'd like to leave our listeners with a thought to ponder as you navigate the world of play with your child. Take a moment to reflect on your own childhood. What kind of play brought you joy? What sparked your imagination?
That's such a powerful question. Our own experiences can offer such valuable insights into our children's interests and how they learn best.
Absolutely. And remember, play is a journey, not a destination. Embrace the mess, the laughter, and the endless possibilities that come with unlocking the power of play.
You've got this, and there you have it, another deep dive complete. Remember, play isn't just child's play. It's the foundation for a lifetime of learning, growth, and discovery. So go ahead, grab those blocks, put on a silly hat, and let's play.